Hi guys, the Emotional Dad here, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sleep. Now, isn't this a tough one? I'm sure you've all seen the meme going around the internet from the Toy Story movie. There's Woody and this little rubber shark. Woody, parent at bedtime, and the little rubber shark is your child at bedtime, where it's going bouncing around like a jelly bean off the walls. Yes, it happens a lot in the Emotional Dad house. Particularly when either my wife and I have been away for business or been at courses for work, and we come home and the children decide that bedtime is the time that they want to play with us. Now, it's an interesting concept because generally there's three needs that children need met in order for them to be relaxed enough for them to go to sleep. Now, we know they're tired, and that's a given. You know, most kids have a set bedtime, so they get to bedtime and it's, you know, their bodies are tired, but their minds are still mentally active. Now, bedtime is when a lot of feelings start to come up for them. So you may find that they'll start to act silly and they won't settle down. You know, if your bedtime ritual is that you read stories before bed, often you'll find that once the last story has been read, that your children will start to then escalate their behaviour. So what I mean by escalate is that they'll start to scream or make strange noises, bounce in their bed. That's the first sign that there is something going on that isn't allowing them to relax enough to sleep. So often it could be an unmet need, an unmet feeling, or it could be that something has happened during the day that has been left unresolved, and as a result they're not quite there yet in terms of being relaxed enough to go to sleep. So firstly, we need to discover what the need is. So it could be that they want some connection. For example, an example of this is my wife had been at a conference for 2 days during the week, and then Friday night when I wasn't at home and she was doing bedtime, at the regular bedtime and after the bedtime ritual had been complete of reading stories, the children decided that it wasn't bedtime yet. So they began to jump around and bounce and scream, and as a result, it led to frustration with my wife. So there's the first clue that perhaps something's going on for the kids, that they're not quite relaxed enough or balanced enough to go to sleep. So she rang me and she suggested that I talk to the kids on the phone, as I do. So I spoke to them and both of them said that they just wanted some time to play. Now, this often happens at bedtime when one of us have been away. They feel that they haven't got the next point, which is connection. And this could be as simple as playing a game. It could be drawing a picture. It could be a whole series of things that have led to that point. If you give your children more connection before sleep, they'll feel it. And you'll often find that they'll want a specific kind of connection, whether it be a snuggle or they just want you to lay down with them. It could also be that they want you to play a quick game. My daughter's favourite is Go Fish, and often if she's had a long day at school or she just feels like she needs a little bit more time and connection, that once her brother is asleep, we'll go out into the lounge room and we'll play a couple of hands of Go Fish. And often you'll find that once the game is over, she'll just pick herself up and go to bed herself. So obviously that need has been met. So, you know, things like cuddles, closeness. Some boys like rough and tumble play, so they might enjoy, you know, to fall on the floor. It's all about physical touch in that instance. So it could be that they just felt that they needed some kind of some way to connect to you on a sensory physical level. In order for them to be relaxed, which is the next step, is that you need to meet them where they're at, and this will help them to relax faster. Everyone has their own unique way of relaxing at bedtime before bed, and you'll find that when your children are bouncing around and jumping, that then, as I've mentioned previously, they're not relaxed enough yet for sleep. We can take this two ways. We can either fight it or we can fix it. If we fight it, as my wife and I have done on many an occasion when we haven't been in a space to deal with it, is it just leads to further frustration and angst. And you'll find that the bedtime ritual can last for anywhere up to 2.5 to 3 hours, because everyone's just so flustered with each other and everyone just is over the whole thing. You'll find that they'll also use their own natural way to relax. My son is a jump-arounder. Don't know if that's a real word, but hey, let's go with that. Which means he likes to jump around in his bed a little bit. He'll bounce, he might randomly spring up like a frog and then flop back down. So he bounces around. My daughter, on the other hand, is a fiddler. What I mean by fiddle is she'll fluff her pillows, she'll play with the blankets, she'll stroke her stuffed toys, she'll reposition them 15 different times before she thinks that they're in a comfortable spot that they will go to sleep. Or she'll play with her PJs, she might get up and go to the toilet, all kinds of things, but they're all a part of her natural relaxation methods. And we've found that if we fight their natural relaxation method, that we all end up getting frustrated, as I mentioned before. So as counterintuitive as this may sound at bedtime, because let's be honest, at bedtime, it's often when the children are asleep that we get our opportunities to either, if we run our own business, we get our opportunity to do some more work. If your partner or wife or whoever's been at work all day and so have you, it's the only time you really get for some one-on-one connection time with your spouse or significant other. Or you just want to take off your shoes, have a cup of tea, and watch the latest episode of CSI without any interruptions. My wife and I often do that. But the longer you fight it, the longer it will take to get to that spot. So if we go along with it and take it as an invitation from your child to help them to process a feeling or something that's happened to them during the day, the feeling may not necessarily have occurred that day. It may be something that happened 6 months ago that they're just starting to work through themselves. And that's where, again, in another video, we'll talk a little bit more about past hurt. But bedtime is often one of the key times that this will arrive. So if they start to do this, go along with them. Take their invitation to help them heal. And if you follow their lead, they'll show you what they need in order to get them to relax. So play with them, cuddle them, do whatever you need to do to get them to relax. And experience shows me that this will normally last for half an hour, 45 minutes maximum. If on your first attempt it lasts longer, please put a time restriction on it. Set a timer and say to them, all right guys, or however many children you may have, 1, 2, 7, whatever, put on a timer and say, at the end of this 15-minute buzzer, it's bedtime. So we're going to play for this 15 minutes and then it is bedtime. You will find that they will respond because they know that that's the end of the time, and then they will go to bed. Sometimes the feelings or the emotions may be a little bit bigger than that, so you may have to adapt that approach, but that's entirely case-by-case basis. think the most important thing is that if they are crying or raging, which can often be the case if a big emotion comes up, that you reassure them that you're there for them. And I know that we can get frustrated at bedtime because they're not listening or they're not doing what you want them to do. That's a perfectly normal emotion. And this is where compassion becomes really important, because know that that's normal and that's a real feeling that you're feeling, and you can then deal with that as well. But it's important that they know that you're there for them and that you're listening. And I want to introduce you to a concept called loving limit. And it's where you let them know that their emotions are okay, but in the instance of if they're having a fit of rage where they may be kicking or punching or doing something that is putting you or them in physical harm, you set a loving limit, and by that you let them know that I'm here for you and I'm listening to you, but I'm not going to let you do that because it's my job to protect you and keep you safe. And it's my job to keep myself protected and safe. They don't want to hurt you. It's just they aren't sure how to deal with their emotion. So make sure that you don't take it personally, because it's not you, it's about them. Okay? Set the loving limit and let them know that you are there for them and that you're going to listen and that they're in a safe space. My family rule is that our house is a safe space. It's where our kids know that they can let out their feelings, their frustrations and their anger, and know that we're here to listen and to help them, and that it's safe for them to do so. And we'll talk about that again in another video. Wow, so many topics for videos. It just keeps on coming. And yeah, just be there for them. If it's laughter they need, be silly, be fun. If it's just emotional support they need, hold them tight, cuddle them, let them know you're there to listen and that their feelings are important, and just be there with them. So I hope that that's helpful to you guys with your bedtime situations. If there's anything more specific that you want to know, leave a comment. Find me on Facebook, The Emotional Dad. Find our website, theemotionaldad.com. Leave some feedback, and I can always answer your question more directly. So everyone, please remember, be compassionate to your family, but most importantly, be compassionate to yourself. This is The Emotional Dad signing out. Have a great day.